Hi, this is the next lesson on subordinate clauses, and for this lesson we're going to be looking at the idea of the subordinate clause coming first and then the main clause coming second. Okay, so here we go. As you can see, we've got subordinate, and then main, and separated by a comma. And I suppose if I were to put all the punctuation in correctly, I would have a full stop there. So let's, once again, just like we did in the last lesson, let's start with the main clause, because the main clause is the simple bit, but I'm going to write it on the right hand side because we've got to leave space. So we start, I think we had the idea about maybe the girl was unhappy, or the girl was happy actually, yeah. So the girl was happy. Okay, so that's the first thing to think about. The girl was happy, and then you have to think about things like why was the girl happy, or when was the girl happy, that sort of thing. So you think, why was the girl happy? Because it was her birthday. Great, that's the answer. So because it was her birthday, that is the subordinate clause, so therefore that comes first. Don't forget we're doing subordinate first. So because it was her birthday, I'm just going to squeeze this in down here. So because it was her birthday and comma, the girl was happy. Now that's not the neatest sentence in the world, but it's a very, very good year 4 sentence. Actually, it's not a bad year 5 or year 6 sentence, but that's beside the point. So because it was her birthday, the girl was happy. So we'll just pause for a moment, and then I'll put some more up for you. Okay, so here we go. Here we go again. So what I've got 4 examples here, 4 main clauses. Remember, the main clause is now at the end of the sentence. So example number 1, the dog was barking. Why was the dog barking? I'll leave you to think about that for a moment. But whatever the reason, you've got to put the reason at the beginning of the sentence and then finish it off with the dog was barking. Number 2, the tree was swaying. Well, what makes a tree sway? Sway just means move gently backwards and forwards. So why was the tree swaying? Number 3, the children wore their coats. What's that all about then? When do we wear our coats? Is it playtime? Is it the end of the day when we're going home? Is it good weather? Is it bad weather? What makes that happen? And then lastly, pardon me, we will miss our playtime. Ooh, that sounds serious. What could make us miss our playtime? What does make us miss our playtime? So think about those, press pause, have a go yourself. Write as much down as you can. Hello, me again. Now, with these, I'll give you my examples, my ideas. Obviously, your ideas won't be exactly the same as mine, but hopefully it will give you something to think about. So the dog was barking. What was making the dog barking? Maybe a cat. So because the dog saw a cat. But if we say that because the dog saw the cat, the dog was barking, that's a little bit clumsy. Let's say because it saw a cat, because it saw a cat. Because it saw a cat, the dog was barking. That's a very good reason why the dog would be barking. So this is the main clause. Remember, we underline the main clause in a solid line, and we do a dotted line here because it saw a cat. Now hopefully at this point some of you are screaming and saying, Mr. Smales, you've forgotten something. What have we forgotten? We have forgotten the comma. I haven't really, I'm just kidding. Because it saw a cat, the dog was barking. Job done, number 1. Number 2, the tree was swaying. Well, the tree's not going to sway because it saw a cat. The tree's not going to sway because it's upset, because it was its birthday, obviously. So really, the only thing I was thinking of was wind. So because it was a windy day. I was going to say because there was wind. That's not very good. Because it was a windy day, or maybe just because it was windy. There we go. Because it was windy, comma, the tree was swaying. Lovely. Don't forget, boys and girls, these are year 4 sentences, but they would look at very much at home in a year 5 or a year 6 writing book. Number 3, the children wore their coats. The children wore their coats. Now, you could say because, or since, or due to, but what you might have done is you might have thought of this. You might have thought, let's do one of those U-turn sentences, you know, where the sentence kind of turns upside down, it sort of turns itself round. So I'm going to try one of those. So, despite. Now remember, despite means what we write in the subordinate clause is kind of different to what happens in the main clause. So children wearing their coats, that would suggest good weather or bad weather? Yeah, bad weather. So let's suggest here, let's suggest good weather. So despite the good weather, or despite the sun being out and very hot, or despite it being hot, despite the sunshine is a good one. So despite the sunshine. Okay, so despite the sunshine. If you wanted to use although, that would be fine. Although it was sunny, that would work. Despite is usually followed by the word the. Although is sometimes followed by the word it. Although it was, or although he was, so it's a pronoun. Despite the sunshine, the children wore their coats. Lovely sentence. Finally, we will miss our playtime. We will miss our playtime. Right, so this hasn't happened yet. It hasn't happened, but it might. What would happen? What would have to cause us to miss our playtime? Think about it. If we did this or if we did that. So now we're looking at if. We're looking at a subordinating conjunction. If, there it is. Where is it? Here it is. There it is. If something happens, we will miss our playtime. So if we are naughty, let's pretend we're in Key Stage 1. If we are naughty, comma, we will miss our playtime. There you go. That's how it works. Right. Press pause and I'll see you on the other side. Okay, back again. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to do a little bit of free writing. So I will do once again a bit of shared writing first, and then you can have a go. So I want to, rather than just write one sentence and then another one that's completely separate, I want the sentences to have something to do with to do with them. So let's think about one of the examples we had, and we're talking about playtime. So let's say what happens. So at playtime it was raining. So although it was raining, now think about it, there's the comma. So although it was raining, so subordinate clause, underlined with a dotted line, subordinating conjunction, wiggly line, wiggly circle. So although it was raining, now think about it, when it's raining we usually stay in. Although means you have to flip it on its head. So although it was raining, we went outside to play. We went outside to play. Full stop. Okay, so we went outside to play. Okay, remember it's raining. Some children didn't take their coats. Oh dear, silly children. So what happened? Well, they got wet and they got cold. Why did they get wet and cold? Because they forgot their coats. Right, there we go. Because they, now at the moment, we don't know, the reader doesn't know what they refers to whom they refers. But that's good because it makes them read on. They have to carry on reading. Because they forgot their coats, comma, some children got wet and became, not sure, some children got wet and cold. Full stop. Right, so because they forgot their coats, comma, some children got wet and cold. What's going to happen next? Let's think. Okay, well, if they're wet and they're cold, they've got to get dry, haven't they? So, remember, a main clause and a subordinate clause are basically saying two things. So they're getting dry, but what else is happening? So they're getting dry and maybe they were talking a lot at the same time. If two things are happening at the same time, then you have to use the word while, okay? So if you just think about it step by step, what's one thing that's happening? What's the other thing that's happening? Is it because, or is it when, or while? You build up your own sentence. Whoops, dropping my pen here. So, while they, who does they refer to? Yeah, that's right. While they were getting dry, comma, while they were getting dry, comma, the children were talking. The children were making a dreadful noise. That's very, very good. The children, I'll tell you what, I'll just put were noisy, just to finish it off. Were noisy. Full stop. So there we go, you can see now. So while they were getting dry, comma, the children were noisy. Right, so boys and girls, first thing I want you to do is to think about where are the subordinating conjunctions. There's one of them, and there's two more subordinating conjunctions. Can you see where they are? Have a little look, think about it. Okay, well, one of them is this one here, because, and the other one, here it is while. Hope you got those. Second question is, in the second sentence, the one that starts with because, where is the main clause? Where is the main clause? Think about it. Where's the subordinate clause? I don't want to know that. I want to know where the main clause is, and the main clause is here. Some children got wet and cold. That's that. And in the third sentence, which begins with while, I want you to tell me where is the subordinate clause. That's probably a bit easier to spot. And subordinate clause, dash, 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 were getting dry, comma. That's the subordinate clause. Okay. Now, in a moment, I'll ask you to press pause, and then what I want you to do is to come up with two or three sentences. It can be about children, it can be about school, it can be about what's going on at home, that sort of thing. Okay, press pause. Okay, well, I hope you've had a good go at writing your three sentences. Now, remember, the only way, if you want me to mark your work, the only way I can do that is if you send it in to me. The best way you can do that is by writing it down or emailing it to richard.smales@claremont.nottingham.sch.uk. My address is on the front of the 4RS web pages. To contact me in another way, you can also use the Ask Mr. Smales page, which you should be able to find from the website. Okay, good luck with all of that work that you've got to do. Stay safe and stay soapy.